The rain had been falling since noon, steady and cold, turning the street into a shimmering ribbon under the flicker of broken lamplights. Tom Walker, the town's quiet, broad-shouldered mechanic, was locking up his small shop for the night when he noticed her. She sat huddled on the bottom step of the old brick boarding house across the street. A threadbare blanket swallowed her small frame, her hair plastered damply to her forehead. She couldn't have been more than 7. Tom crossed the street, boots splashing through shallow puddles. "Hey, kid. You lost?" he asked gently. She shook her head, her lips pale and trembling. Then she looked up at him, eyes startlingly bright despite her sickly complexion. Her voice was a whisper almost lost in the rain. "If you carry me up the stairs, I'll tell you a secret." Something in her tone wasn't playful, it was strange, like a dare whispered in the dark. Tom glanced at the steps behind her. They led up into shadow, the kind that made you feel watched. The building was old, with ivy crawling over the bricks like veins, and its windows reflected no light. Still, the sight of her sitting there, fragile and alone, made hesitation feel cruel. He knelt down, and without another word, she slid into his arms as if she had been waiting for him all along. The wooden stairs groaned under Tom's weight, their surface slick from years of neglect. She weighed almost nothing, lighter than a toolbox, but with every step, it felt as though the air grew heavier, pressing against his chest. The building smelled faintly of mothballs, damp paper, and something older, like time itself had been trapped in the walls. A single dim bulb flickered above, throwing shadows that moved as though they were watching him. She didn't speak, but her head rested against his shoulder with a strange familiarity, as if she had known him long before this night. Every few steps he thought he felt her fingers tighten slightly on his shirt, like she feared he might put her down too soon. Halfway up, he glanced over the railing and realized he couldn't see the street anymore, only darkness below, as if the stairs had taken them somewhere else entirely. "Almost there," she murmured finally, her voice so faint he almost missed it. She pointed with one small hand toward the far end of the hallway above. A single door waited there, its paint peeling in long curls, the brass knob dull with age. Tom swallowed hard. He didn't know why he was doing this for a child he'd never met, but some part of him knew he couldn't turn back, not yet. Tom set her gently on a rickety chair beside the door she'd pointed to. The hallway was so still it felt as though the building itself was holding its breath. She drew the blanket tighter around her shoulders. "You fix engines," she said in a voice soft as paper tearing. "But there's something else you can fix, if you want to." From under the blanket she produced a small tin box, dented and worn smooth at the edges. She held it out to him like it weighed more than she could bear. Inside were photographs, aged, brittle. A young couple smiling on the porch of a farmhouse, a baby wrapped in a quilt, and then a man in a soldier's uniform, jaw sharp, eyes steady. Tom's stomach tightened. That face, he'd seen it in the one photograph his mother kept locked away. A man she'd told him died before Tom could walk. Her gaze was unblinking. "He's not dead," she said. "He's here, in the next room." Tom's fingers hovered over the tarnished knob, the metal icy under his touch. Somewhere behind the door, he thought he heard the faint scrape of a chair against wood. "He's been waiting for you," the girl whispered. "A very long time." The hinges groaned as he pushed the door open. The room smelled faintly of oil and dust. In the far corner, by a rain-streaked window, sat an old man in a wheelchair. His back was to the door, shoulders bent, hair silver and thin. Slowly, the man turned. Tom saw his own eyes looking back at him, only older, shadowed by years of silence. The old man's lips parted, trembling. "Tom?" Tom's chest constricted, words failing him. He turned to look at the girl, only to find the chair empty, the blanket neatly folded. The hallway beyond was dim and endless, as if it had swallowed her whole. All that remained was the secret she'd carried, and the truth waiting in the room. He had finally opened,